Nestled between rolling hills lay the quaint town of Oakhaven. Life here moved at a slower pace. The townsfolk were content with the simplicity of their routines. Among them was a young man named Leo.
He worked as a carpenter, crafting furniture with his calloused hands. His days were filled with the rhythmic sawing of wood and the satisfying scent of sawdust.
Leo had a close-knit circle of friends. They shared laughter over mugs of ale at the local tavern. He had a loving family who cherished their evenings together. By all accounts, Leo's life was peaceful and content. He had a roof over his head, food on the table, and people he loved. Yet a nagging feeling lingered in the back of his mind.
Leo couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. He looked at the mountains that encircled Oakhaven, their peaks seeming to touch the sky.
A longing grew in his heart, a desire to reach beyond the familiar horizon of his life. He yearned for something more, a purpose that resonated deep within him. Leo continued his daily routine. He worked diligently, spending hours in his workshop, but the feeling of dissatisfaction persisted. It was a subtle unease, a whisper in the silence of his thoughts. It kept him awake at night, staring at the ceiling. His heart ached for a life that felt more meaningful.
One evening, as Leo sat on his porch, watching the sunset, he saw an elderly gentleman strolling down the lane. The man, a stranger to Oakhaven, carried himself with an air of quiet dignity. His eyes, though lined with age, twinkled with a youthful curiosity. Intrigued, Leo decided to approach him. "Good evening," Leo greeted the stranger, who seemed new to these parts.
The man smiled warmly. "Indeed I am. My name is Mr. Hawthorne." He extended his hand.
"Leo," he replied, shaking Mr. Hawthorne's hand. "Welcome to Oakhaven."
"Thank you, Leo. I must say it's a charming little town." Mr. Hawthorne's gaze swept over the peaceful surroundings.
As they spoke, Leo felt an unexpected connection with the older man. There was a depth in Mr. Hawthorne's eyes, a wisdom that hinted at a life well lived. Little did Leo know this chance encounter would change his life forever. Leo invited Mr. Hawthorne into his humble abode. Over steaming mugs of herbal tea, they talked late into the night. Leo found himself sharing his inner turmoil with this kind stranger. He spoke of his discontent, his yearning for something more than the ordinary routine of his life. Mr. Hawthorne listened patiently, his expression thoughtful.
When Leo finished, Mr. Hawthorne smiled gently. "Leo," he began, his voice calm and reassuring, "your feelings are not uncommon. Many people go through life feeling unfulfilled, longing for something more."
"But what is that something?" Leo asked, his voice filled with a mixture of frustration and hope. "And how do I find it?"
Mr. Hawthorne leaned back in his chair. "The answer, my boy, lies not in seeking grand adventures or chasing distant dreams. It lies in making each day count."
Leo frowned, puzzled. "Making each day count? What do you mean?"
Mr. Hawthorne's eyes twinkled. "It's about setting small, achievable goals for yourself each day. It's about constantly learning, growing, and striving to be a little bit better than you were yesterday."
Mr. Hawthorne's words resonated deeply within Leo. He had spent so much time yearning for something extraordinary that he had overlooked the power of the ordinary. He had been so focused on the distant horizon that he had failed to appreciate the journey.
"But how do I start? What kind of goals should I set?"
Mr. Hawthorne smiled.
Start small, Leo. Don't overwhelm yourself with grand plans. Choose one thing you want to improve about yourself or your life. It could be anything. Learning a new skill, reading a few pages of a book, or simply being kinder to those around you.
Leo considered Mr. Hawthorne's words. He realized that his desire for more wasn't about changing his entire life overnight. It was about making small incremental changes that over time would lead to significant growth.
"And what about success? Will I find it if I just focus on these small steps?"
Mr. Hawthorne chuckled softly.
Success is not a destination, Leo. It's a journey. It's the sum of all the small steps you take each day. Focus on the journey, on becoming the best version of yourself, and success will follow.
Each day he would take a step forward, no matter how small it seemed. Leo took Mr. Hawthorne's advice to heart. He began to set small, manageable goals for himself.
"I can do this, just one step at a time."
He felt more confident, more capable. His life was transforming, not through grand gestures, but through the power of consistency. Over time, Leo noticed a change. The small steps he took each day began to add up.
Leo, how did you manage to change so much? What's your secret?
It might not seem like much at first, but over time, those small steps create big changes. It's not really a secret. It's about being consistent. Every day I make a little progress.
The young man nodded, absorbing Leo's words. Leo had become an example of how the power of consistency could lead to profound transformation.
I think I understand now. Thank you, Leo.
You're welcome. Just remember, it's all about the journey. Keep moving forward, one step at a time.
And so, Leo's journey continued, marked by small steps and the unwavering power of consistency.